my own backstory. I grew up in Pulaski, Tennessee. Pulaski, Tennessee is a small rural southern town, which is the birthplace of the Ku Klux Klan. Um, it's not that the Klan was marching up and down the streets every day when I lived there, but there were Klan rallies there every Martin Luther King Day in the 80s.
How did this song shape the way you see yourself or the world around you?
Mm. Mm. So I'm gonna go out of order because that question makes me think of a different song that I had in different order. So I'm gonna pick a more recent record. It came out in 2023. It was "The Age of Pleasure" by Janelle Monáe. Janelle Monáe before then, thought it was cool. You know what I'm saying? I like Janelle, but I didn't really pay attention to what she was talking about because it really wasn't relevant to anything I really had going on or was focused on at the time. But it's something about that Age of Pleasure album. It kind of came off the backs of Renaissance, and while it doesn't really sound like Beyonce's Renaissance, it still had that fun, um,
Energy.
love yourself energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Inward, I'm gonna just be who I am, freedom type to it. And I said, okay. So I started listening to it and just listened to it all the way through. I said, oh, this kind of slap. That's all this is what she was talking about. Okay, this kind of slap. Then I got to see her live in concert. And I said, okay, I understand. I understand. It really kind of shaped how it really, let me say it a different way. It allowed me to become more of myself.
Hmm.
It allowed me to explore parts of myself I wasn't sure about, was afraid to, or just really wasn't thinking about. I would say, as far as the culture and society part, this album gay. Okay, just a little. You know what I'm saying? Hey, this for the LGBTQs. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't know nothing about. But then I said, oh, you know what? I'm LGBTQ now. You know what I'm saying? Like, not now, but you know what I'm saying? It really kind of helped me do that. So I don't know. It just heard it and felt like that's what I want to feel like. That's the energy I'm looking for. That's the feelings I want to feel. That's how I want to show up in relationships or in community. And that really kind of was a turning point for me back in 2023. So I'm here now, and it is what it is.
That's what's up. My cousin loves Janelle Monáe. Shout out to her. My favorite song on that album is Float. The first time I heard that song,
Mm,
I was like, what is this? Because it really does make you feel like you're floating. Like you can walk into any room and just be like, I'm here. And the
yes.
rest of y'all forget whatever you're talking about because I'm here.
Period.
It is very LGBTQ AI plus or whatever it is now, which is not quite my bag, but from an objective listener, it's still a very dope album
Yeah.
to listen to and to hear what she had going on. And I agree, it was definitely on the heels of that Renaissance freedom. And you can
Hmm.
tell that Janelle Monáe had a party while she was making this album. Like I can only imagine what
It
was
felt like
going,
that.
yeah, what they had going on throughout all of that. I feel like it was a lot. Energetically, I feel like it's a lot. I'm not gonna
It
label it
was.
too much. I don't want to have to put too
What
much.
they had going on.
I don't have to put too much allegedly on it, but I feel like it was a lot of alleged activities going on during the making of that album. But we go shift over to Van. Same question. How did this song or album shape the way you see yourself or the world around you?
This album that I'm going to go with is Public Enemy. It takes a nation of millions to hold us back. I realize that at the rate I'm going, these are all very relatively old songs, but you know, these answer the question. It takes a nation of millions to hold us back. Public Enemy, one of the most political hip hop groups that there ever was. This came out in 1988, um, which was around the exact same time in junior high that I don't know if either of you ever heard of the book, Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together? It's a book, it's a sociological book talking about um, the constructs of race as they affect you at a certain age. that if you see a bunch of children, you in elementary, there all these different races of kids are sitting together at the table at lunch. But by the time they get about 7th grade, junior high, if you get, of course, this is school with a variety of people, then they start to separate. They start to get into what they start to acknowledge what society has been saying about them, whether they want to or not. And so this is that same period, while a society is saying one thing about me as a young Black boy, Public Enemy saying another. And sonically, it's enthralling because it's so edgy, it's so aggressive. It's testosterone, audio testosterone. And for a young boy who has these political things on his mind to some degree, it was just something I couldn't let go of. When I got my hands on that album, I would listen to it every single day. And the production was brand new. Chuck D's voice is something brand new. All of it was just something that grabbed a hold of me. He would make references that I would later go and try to find out, well, who are these people he's talking about? What is this that he's talking about? So it shaped my politics at that time in a lot of ways, when most 8th graders don't have a politic.
Go just a little bit more into that, because you said it shaped your politics. In what way would you say it shaped your politics?
It's one thing, my own backstory. I grew up in Pulaski, Tennessee. Pulaski, Tennessee is a small rural southern town, which is the birthplace of the Ku Klux Klan. It's not that the Klan was marching up and down the streets every day when I lived there, but there were Klan rallies there every Martin Luther King Day in the 80s. So this was a real thing. The idea of race was something that was already on the forefront of my mind, because my grandparents, my parents, they all grew up in the segregation era South, and they were not people who believed in worshiping whiteness, and they didn't pass that on to me. So I already had an idea about whiteness and Blackness that a lot of the other younger people around me didn't have. Public Enemy made me want to understand more about why I would think the way that I think. So when they're talking about Howard Beach and these riots, or police brutality, or Farrakhan, or all of these different things, they're giving a structure to the feelings that I already had around race. Because before then, it's just a feeling. I know that something doesn't sit right, but now I'm able to start to put words to it because of their music. And that's how, I guess that's the best way of saying how it shaped my politics. It gave it an intentional structure, a scaffolding from which I could build upon. Not to say that I just took everything that they said at face value, but they were saying something when no one else was.
Got you. So now Chuck D has been quoted that they were setting out to make the hip hop version of Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. Do you think they successfully accomplished that mission with this album?
I think they did, and they probably exceeded it. I would say they exceeded it. What's going on? Don't get me wrong. What's going on? I'm not saying that what's going on is passive. It's not. It's very, he's saying what he's saying and he means what he says. But there's something about a melody that allows you to hide what you're saying that they don't have in Public Enemy. Nothing about Public Enemy is melodic. It's all at face value. Now they may, it may be some double entendres and stuff like that, but it's right there, and it's much more in your face. So I'd say they still they had millions of white kids buying it. So there's something to be said for that. They may have exceeded it in some ways.